Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's been a while. Please follow and subscribe. Today I'm going to show you how I make my cartoon. This is a popular cartoon in Nigeria that is published by Daily Trust newspaper. It's about a girl and her dad. The girl always asks questions, ask her dad questions, and the dad responds, usually funny response. It's mainly about the happenings in Nigeria, politics, economy, security, anything. So she asks these really funny questions, and the dad responds. I've not named these characters, so she's just, it's just the dad and then the girl, So yeah, the first stage, of course, when I make a cartoon is to come up with the sketch. The sketch is the loose drawing. I do this to bring out the general concept of how I think the cartoon should look like. I don't bother much about clean lines at this stage. I just draw them, just get the general idea. I do this on a separate layer, or the first layer. I also reduce the opacity because I want to get the feel, of that pencil feel. By the way, I use Clip Studio Paint for my work. I also have a Huion canvas. That's what I'm working on. Huion canvas 22 plus, I think. So this is the sketch process, as you can see. After the sketching, I go ahead to start the inking stage. Now, in the inking stage, basically, it's about creating clean lines, making everything clean and tight. So I first create a separate layer from the sketch layer, and then sometimes I do reduce the opacity of the layer, the sketch layer further. It depends if I'm okay with it. As you can see, the sketch I did with brown color, while the inking is black outlines. So I take my time to make clean lines for the inking. I do all this on a separate layer. Once the inking is done, the next thing I do is to create another layer for the color. Usually the color layer is under the ink layer, so it's not going to be above the ink layer, it's going to be under the ink layer. That way, you know, the colors can show through the ink, or maybe the inking, the colors are not blocking the inking, the outlines that I've made. So the first thing I do when I'm coloring is to use my lasso tool to select the areas I want to color. I make a flat, basically one color. It could be any color, but I choose brown, the color of their skin. And then after coloring everything brown, filling it with brown, to fill it in, after the selection with your lasso tool, after selecting everything with your lasso tool, you can select the paint bucket, select the color you want, and then just splash it in. Other people prefer to use their brush or pen to do the coloring. I sometimes do that depending on the area I'm coloring or the method I choose to do. But mostly, you know, for these cartoons, they're usually, you know, the colors are flat, no too much effects and all of that. So yeah, so making the color, maybe choosing a flat color, and then from there I start separating the colors, the color of her dress, the color of her scarf, the color of the book, the color of his own shirt and his cap, the newspaper. I separate everything, you know, giving each its own color. So the selection process using the lasso tool, it's a bit tedious. You need a bit of patience, you know, to do it very well. But at the end, that's just the way to do it, and there's that satisfaction at the end once you've done it. Right. So as you can see, I've done all that. I've also started putting the colors. Here I'm trying to separate the colors, so you can see I've selected this so I'm going to speed this process up, but basically that's what I'm doing. So now that we've colored everything, we've separated the colors, the next stage is to add a bit of shadow for on the colors. You know, they're flats, but you know, the shadows, they help to make them pop. So maybe like under the arm, you know, under the scarf, on the skin, you know, depending on where your light source is coming from, it's up to you to choose. So you can see all these areas I'm selecting now. I want to select the areas, or I'm selecting the areas I'm going to make dark. Other artists, you know, select maybe areas they want to make dark, and they look for a darker color, maybe a cool color, and then, you know, pour it in, apply it on those dark areas. Yeah, that's a way to do it, and I sometimes do it, but for this particular cartoon I don't usually do that. After selecting the colors, I just go into brightness and contrast tab, and I make those areas darker. If I'm trying to, when I'm trying to make it, you know, trying to create dark areas, I make those areas darker. If it's the reverse, I'm trying to make it maybe lighter, then I make it brighter rather than, you know, lighter. So I toggle it to have more brightness. Yeah. So as you can see now, it stands out much better. And then of course I color the newspaper and all of that. The last thing I do is to apply the background, just a bit of background to it. This is not always the case. Sometimes I start with the background, you know. For me, it doesn't matter if I choose to start with the background or to end with the background. So basically, this is how I come up with this cartoon. The last thing I do is to put the text for this cartoon. This cartoon will be published on the 14th of January 2023. So if you're watching this, just know that this cartoon is about to be published, or it has been published, with the wordings and everything. I don't want to put the wordings here, but you can find it on my Facebook page, Bulama Cartoons, or on my Twitter, on my Instagram. You can see the finished work with the text on it. All right. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you've learned something out of this. Like I said, don't forget to like and subscribe until I bring you another tutorial on how I do my cartoons. Thanks. Bye.